It's Friday. There's your Pear Deck link. It's a shorter lesson, so let's get through it quick and get to our weekend, which is something I want to do. Let's get to the weekend.
Yeah, because you have Batman stuff on the weekend, and I know it.
Ironically, Josiah, I am going to Pittsburgh on Sunday with the in-laws on a little day trip excursion, and that's Gotham City and the Batman movies. Marianne, you're good. I like calling them cylinder blocks. I know. I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy about having to go to Pittsburgh. I'm gonna complain the whole time. I'm gonna yell "Go Browns" at everybody wearing Steelers gear. Because I'm that guy. I'm that guy in Pittsburgh, and I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed. Now I'll make sure I'll have. We got a baby Bjorn. My kid's a little big for it, but he'll squeeze in and I'll strap him to it, use him as a shield. He's cute, so. All right. Kinsey. All right, so today, guys, we're going to be talking more about the Cold War. Last time we talked about the Korean War, which is one of the proxy wars during the Cold War, where, the United States gets involved. We actually put troops on the ground. We fight against North Korea and eventually Chinese forces. But what's important to know that is during this Cold War time period, the United States never physically fights against Russia. We either fight against an army that Russia is supporting, or we support an army who's in conflict with Russia, or in conflict with somebody who Russia is supporting. So these two superpowers, we never actually go head to head. And we call these proxy wars. And if you know what a proxy is, it's like if you were if you had a business meeting, right? But you couldn't make it, you'd send somebody on your behalf. That's known as sending a proxy. And it's kind of a warped way to think of it is we would basically send a country to fight against communism on our behalf by giving them money and guns and ammunition and tanks and equipment and training and all sorts of things like that. And as we progress further, we're going to see where it's kind of going to blow up in our face a few times, while at the same time it's going to benefit us during this period of the Cold War. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're really going to focus on the space race and some more stuff going on in the United States. But Foist, it's Friday. What's your stress level at today, guys? Where are we at? We got about, I think next week is when our last full week before we start testing. You're right, I'm not. Sorry about that, guys. Yeah, testing starts, I want to say the week of the 28th is when you, I don't know when you guys are going, though. I'm going that second week. So the week, hold on. Testing starts the week of the 20th. I'm going the week of the 4th to the 8th. I'll be testing. But in Warren. I'll be there April 4th, April 5th, April 8th, because there's no testing on the 6th and 7th at that site. Marianne, I would contact your engagement coach. If you still don't have your testing site, make sure you're going to homeroom, guys, every day. Your homeroom teachers they've got all that information. That's where Odella assigned me, Josiah. So I think Ben, you're going to be there. A couple of you guys are going to be at that site. Come say hey. Send them an email, sir. They have a what loss? They have should be on your Canvas course card. Okay. Check it out. If you're over here, just say it's fine. If you're over here, let me know how I can get you down to here. I think it's Friday. It's nice. I had a really nice evening last night, guys. And that's dropped my stress level way down here. we took my son to the park with all of his cousins, and then we hit up this place called Milk and Honey here in Canton. Got some food, got some ice cream, and then my son stayed up till almost midnight because he refused to sleep. Marianne, you got attacked by a goose. That's a rite of passage. I've been attacked by geese. My wife has horror stories from her childhood of being attacked by geese. Ashley, you're good. We're just getting started. So welcome to the club, Marianne. All right, guys, so today's learning target is by the end of today, you should be able to explain the increasing tensions of the Cold War by analyzing the effects of the arms race and the space race. Geese have teeth, sir. They're aggressive. All right, so today we're going to be looking at what the arms race is during the Cold War, which was really where the United States and the USSR competed for technological and nuclear supremacy. We're going to build up our nuclear arsenal. And so is the Soviet Union. And it's just going to keep building and building and building and building to where we get to a point called Assured Mutual Destruction, AMD, where it's a philosophy where basically Russia attacks us or we attack Russia, and it comes to the understanding that we're just going to attack back and blow up the whole world. Swole is the goal, Josiah. Sputnik is another term you need to know. The world's first space satellite. And then NASA, guys. This is, if you ever wondered how NASA started and where it comes from the Cold War. All right, so we gotta go back a little bit to World War II, because when we dropped the atom bomb on Japan, we mentioned back then, especially when we asked that question, was it justified? We mentioned that part of the reason was we're showing Russia what we can do and to back off, right? Don't mess with us. Look at the capabilities we have. And when Russia saw this, they're going to want that technology, right? This is a moment that's going to change the world forever. Okay? And as the Cold War progresses, this arms race is going to really be the highlight of it. And in order to prove superiority, Russia and the United States are going to engage in this arms race. If you look at this graph, you can see from 1950 to 2010, the Cold War is going to end right about here in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union. This is the number of nuclear warheads, and you can see right here at the start just how much we have at the peak in 1960 compared to them. And then as they build into the 80s, we start de-escalating. And now you can see kind of where we are now. All right, so as we mentioned, after the U.S. detonates the first atom bomb, the Soviet Union races to create its own. We, the United States, projected that the Soviet Union would not be able to complete an atom bomb at least until 1953. However, the Soviet Union completes their first atom bomb in 1949, 4 years ahead of our prediction. Okay, it was at this point that Harry Truman decides to call for the development of what's called the hydrogen bomb. And an H bomb or a hydrogen bomb possesses 800 times the power of the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. Okay, the United States completes its first hydrogen bomb in 1952, and by 1953, the Soviet Union has one as well. And this is going to be very, very concerning to the United States. Okay. As Soviet technology starts to progress, reports are going to come out more and more and more that the USSR, the Soviet Union, has long-range bombers with the capacity to deliver nuclear payloads to the United States. So they're going to be able to fly a plane from Russia to the United States to drop a nuclear bomb. And that's going to scare the crap out of people. The Eisenhower administration is going to, they think that the Soviets are lying about this. But as a precaution, we build spy planes that will discover the truth. These will be known as, these are the U-2 spy planes. They're going to, basically, they fly thousands and thousands and thousands of feet in the air, almost into the stratosphere, with a giant camera on the bottom. And they take pictures and spy. This is before satellite technology, guys, before we can zoom in and basically see a flea on a dog from the moon. This is what they did. They would just fly a plane really high in the air with a giant camera lens and take pictures of Russia. In the end, though, it's discovered that the Soviet Union was lying about these long-range bombers. Nonetheless, though, fear of nuclear war in the United States ran really deep. So deep that school children carried out drills to prepare for bombings, and families built underground bunkers. Okay? And we're going to watch a video on it. Let me get it loaded up here. But they created a little mascot, Bert the Turtle, and they said, duck and cover, hide under your desk, put your hands over your head, hide under your desk if there's a nuclear explosion. And they did these, what they called flash drills, and the teacher would go, flash! And all these kids would get under their desks with their hands over their heads, and they're like, okay, now you're safe from a nuclear bomb. It's like, yeah, okay, buddy. But check this short video out. Somebody overlaid some beats to it. It's pretty chill. Thank you, guys. Kinsey was putting in the chat, and I'm calling out Kinsey because it was a great point that it's kind of terrifying that they're showing this to kids, but we do this now with active shooter drills, right? Humans are an emotional species. We everything we do is based on emotion, and we have this biological need to protect our children, and this is what this was aimed at. It's also propaganda, guys. At the same time, right? You're playing off of people's emotions to get them to feel a certain way, so in order to think a certain way. And I want you to think back to that 1950, that Red Scare we did, where we talked about conformity, and anybody that was deviated from that conformist thinking was deemed as suspicious. And this is one of the ways that they got people to conform, was like, hey, Russia has nuclear bombs, they don't like us, they might drop it on a school, and your kids are in danger, right? And this is going to get more people to be like, yeah, we don't like Russia, we need to fight the Ruskies and be all on the same team. It was incredibly effective, Mackenzie. Incredibly effective. Propaganda it's been around forever. It will always be around. And the reason being is because it is effective. But I got a question for you. Imagine you were living in the 1950s in the U.S., right? And this booklet, Survival Under Atomic Attack, the official U.S. government booklet, this arrived in the mail for you. What would your feelings on this be? And, we're still seeing, I guess the good word to use here is fallout, right? You can go buy houses, right, that have bomb shelters in the backyard or in the basement. People are building them still in their backyard, in their basement. We ever see Doomsday Preppers? I think it's on Netflix. I think it's on TLC or Discovery Channel, where those people prep for like nuclear war and economic collapse and things like that. And they store like 20 years worth of food and guns and supplies and water in their basement. That's what was that was going on in the 1950s. During this Cold War period. A lot of us are saying we'd be scared. All right, I'm going to throw it on to, just because for the sake of time, we got 8 minutes, and we only have 3 slides left, so I want to get through it. But not long after, really in 1957, so during this time period, the space race is going to begin. And it's going to start when Russia launches the first ever artificial satellite into space, and it's called Sputnik. Really, it's Sputnik 1 because there's going to be a Sputnik 2. Now, add this into that fear of nuclear war and this arms race. Russia's now sending things to space with rocket technology, right? You launch it into a rocket into space. What's that rocket technology also used for, guys? Think about it. What else can you use? You can launch things into space, and what else can you do? Marianne says, boom, boom. That's it. That's intercontinental ballistic missiles. Thank you, Skylar, for the actual technical term. If Russia's able to shoot Sputnik into space, then they can definitely shoot a missile at the United States from Russia. So people are going to go nuts. Its launch is going to absolutely shock the world. No one is expecting what the Soviet Union is able to accomplish in such a short time. The United States is developing an artificial satellite at this time, but the Soviets make it to space first. Right? This is going to be the space race. Now, Sputnik, guys, nobody knew what it could do at first, but it's about the size of a basketball, a little bit bigger. It's able to make a full orbit around the Earth every hour and a half, and all it does is bounce radio signals back to Earth. And people that have proper receiving equipment could tune in and listen to the spacecraft as it passed over America several times a day. So if you had like a CB radio or a ham radio, which was a popular hobby at the time, like long distance radio, you could tune in and listen to the radio waves that Sputnik was bouncing back and forth. But as we mentioned, this is going to jumpstart this space race, this race to improve technology to get into space. And this growing fear of communism paired with McCarthyism, coupled with the launch of Sputnik, and as the fear in America of Russia and nuclear war, people are going to be scared about what else Russia could launch. So we geared up for it. We got ready. We launched Explorer, the first U.S. satellite, which was sponsored by the U.S. Defense Department in 1958. But by this time, by January 1st, 1958, Russia has already launched Sputnik 2, which carried a dog into space, a live dog. All right? It didn't come back, guys. Russia killed a dog for space travel. I mean, we sent chimps and monkeys and stuff in, but I like dogs. My dog's asleep right over here next to me. Russia sent this poor guy. He's actually a national hero. They gave him like the highest military honor in Russia. But it's important to know, Russia sent a dog to space and didn't come back. Russia's going to lead the space race until the 1960s. They're going to achieve milestones like putting the first man in space, the first woman, the first 3 men in space. They're also going to boast the first spacewalk, the first spacecraft to orbit the moon, the first one to make contact with the moon, and the first unmanned craft to land on the moon. They're also going to launch the first spacecraft to impact Venus. So Russia's going to make a lot of progress really, really, really quickly. Now, guys, a lot of the reason why Russia's going to make so much progress so quickly is they're going to launch cosmonauts into space that don't come back or that don't make it there, and it's just going to be next man up. Whereas it's going to be there's going to be like a really dark tone to the Russian space program. So keep that in mind. But it's going to really spurn the United States and shed light on the shortcomings of the United States, particularly on the education system, right? Since America is not the first to launch an artificial satellite, it seems there must be something lacking in the United States. And Russia beating us to space is seen as a failure on the American education system. Politicians get blamed for the lack of rigor, and people clamored for more attention on math and science. Right? If you pay attention to the news and education, we're still clamoring for more attention on math and science. STEM programs, right? That's the new. We need more math and science. Now we just call it STEM. We need more STEM programs for kids, which is true because everything kind of flows through that now. But in 1958, Congress and President Eisenhower are going to pass the National Aeronautics Space Act and create the National Aeronautics and Space Administration. They're going to create NASA in 1958. NASA is going to bring together scientists, engineers, and pilots from many different fields and raise the level of space research and development in the United States. By the end of the 1960s, the U.S. is going to take a clear step ahead of the USSR in the space race, i.e., we're going to land on the moon first. We're going to put Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, and they're going to walk on the moon and play golf and plant the flag on the moon. Congress is also going to pass what's known as the National Defense Education Act in 1958. The NDEA devoted millions of dollars to revamp education in America. Some of the reforms included encouraging teachers to take initiatives to transform their classrooms and offer more choices to the students. However, even though it was a good intention, a lot of the NDEA backfired. It failed. The goals that were set were daunting for students and teachers, right? They set the bar too high. They tried to pull kids who were at this level up to this level in a short amount of time, and a lot of people got discouraged because they failed. Test scores plummeted, dropout rates and graduation rates plummeted, and school enrollment fell. And really the confidence in teachers eroded, so they kind of scaled it back. Your exit ticket. Answer this question for me. How did the space race affect the American public education during the middle of the 20th century? Your independent assignment, you got workbook 3.4 today, guys. Cold War races. There it is, Cold War races. Don't forget, if you haven't taken the Unit 3 vocabulary quiz, you need to. And there's still a number of us that haven't taken the Unit 2 test. It's killing your grade. A couple of you have reached out about why your grade is low. I guarantee you're missing a test or a quiz if your grade's low. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll see you all on Monday. Enjoy the sunshine, guys. Don't forget, target sessions at 12:30 and 2:30. See you, Skylar. Good luck, man.